Bulgaria was one of EU countries that had citizenship by investment option. That was not called citizenship by investment. It was called residence to citizenship or fast-track naturalization in some cases that went away. So there were a couple of countries had it in EU. Bulgaria was one of them. Cyprus was one of them that also went away. And the only one remaining is Malta. In today's video, we're going to talk about why Bulgaria discontinued their citizenship by investment programs and what are those actions that led towards discontinuing that one and how we can learn from Bulgaria case and apply to some others, meaning what are those things that were happening in Bulgaria that we can notice in some other countries and say, okay, this program might go away. Hi, I'm Jovana, Director of Business Development here at Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and their families legally reduce their tax bills, change their life and lifestyle, and go where they are treated the best. And part of our work is keeping our clients updated on new opportunities and new changes, and obviously preventing that certain changes impact on them and their lifestyle and their tax bills. So we have an in-house team that is constantly looking for those things, but also trying to understand what are the things that were happening in the past and with some programs and how we can use those lessons and apply and, think whether some other program will go away. So Bulgaria is a very interesting case because if we're looking into that, what were the reasons why they decided to discontinue the program, we can learn a lot. Just a reminder, Bulgaria was one of 3 EU countries or later on 2 EU countries that had citizenship by investment option. It was not called that way. It was residence to citizenship. And you basically had an option to choose between 2 ways of obtaining it. So you're first of all getting a permanent residence in Bulgaria by investing certain amount of money in government bonds or companies or securities, and so on. There were a couple of investment options. And if you just obtain a residence permit, invest somewhere around €500,000, you would get Bulgarian citizenship in 5 years. If after first year you double the investment, if after first year you double down the investment, you were able to get Bulgarian citizenship after 2 years. And that was called fast-track naturalization, but obviously it didn't require much physical presence in the country, language is not required, and so on. And it was investment-based, which is why it is commonly referred as Bulgarian citizenship by investment. Bulgaria still kept the second option where you can invest €500,000, slightly more than that, and get Bulgarian citizenship in 5 years. But that fast-track naturalization is gone, so you can no longer get it after 2 years. So when we're now looking back into Bulgarian case, we can see a couple of things that were leading towards canceling this program, and we can use those basically to measure, basically put those red flags on some other program. First thing is frequent change of requirements. In some cases, that can be very simple as, adding additional documents. That is fine, that is happening, especially in the first couple of years. Once a country starts with the program, they're looking to refine it, they're looking to what we missed and how we can not necessarily improve our process, but definitely improve our due diligence. So the countries will, as we go through the process, bring more and more and more documents and require more documents. But the issue is when you, as a country having that certain program, start virtue signaling to your investors that things are changing in a way, start, basically spreading in some cases gossips, in some cases very true information that you might change requirements, that you might increase requirements, that you suddenly start asking for something that was your main pitch point. The same case was with Bulgaria. The program didn't change much, but they were constantly virtue signaling that things might change under pressure of this or that. So seeing a country very frequently moving requirements, changing it, it's a sign that something is, something will happen down the road. If you are interested in those kind of countries, you need to do it better sooner than later. We're now seeing the same case with Portugal. They're changing golden visa in the last 3 years. Every single year, we had a new rule for them to finally remove all real estate options and come up with some other options that are more investor-oriented, more job creation-oriented. It will definitely mean that Portugal is losing its appeal, and they are now canceling NHR, which is a big problem. Also, one of the things that really is a red flag for a program and will mean that the program is going away is canceling passports. Some cases, especially in Bulgaria, that was, I would say, okay, given that they realized that programs, that the way they gave those passports was not the best. There were some falsified documents, so there was no real investment actually made, but they canceled a bunch of passports over a couple of years because of that. First of all, they didn't do a good job. They failed to check that, and then they canceled passport. But the issue, and it is a huge red flag, is if we see countries canceling passports because someone did something after obtaining that passport as a citizen, then it's a problem. It's a huge red flag, and I would probably advise not going ahead with that country. So if we now see, it's not happening, but I'm just saying as an example, if we now see St. Kitts canceling St. Kittian passports to some holders because they had some criminal activity after they obtained it. So before their due diligence was clear, but they got it after they obtained citizenship, then that's a problem for a country and for their program. Obviously, the biggest influencer in this is political position and external and internal pressure. So if you see politicians in a country start virtue signaling with some groups of in their country, either those would be on the left or right, talking, for example, on left, okay, we have issues with housing and so on. Our apartments are not affordable for domestic people because we have a lot of immigrants. It's a sign that is going away. At certain point, probably before elections, politicians will, especially if it's a ruling party, they will come and cancel it, or they will wait for elections if it's a new party and cancel it afterwards. On the other side, obviously, we have, the whole anti-immigrant movement, which is not very strong for this type of immigration, but still, if someone starts virtue signaling on that side, it obviously, because of lifestyle elements and so on, it's a really good sign that those things are going away. And on the top of that, external pressures, like Bulgaria was having lots of pressure from European Union to cancel those options. The reason for that was that, Bulgaria was not imposing very strict due diligence. That they were obviously looking into something. There were some requirements, but that was not very strict, at least not as strict as Malta. And also, Bulgaria was not, the program was not super popular. Like, program existed, but it was not super popular. So there was no incentive for Bulgaria to say, no, guys, we can reform it a bit, but we're not canceling this one because a bunch of our budget is coming from this part. Malta does have that. A lot of money is pouring into Malta because of the program. And they say, every time EU is pressuring them, they say, like, guys, we need that money. We'll tighten the requirements. We won't allow anyone that has anything on their due diligence to show, to get our passport, but we need that money, and you are not going to substitute us. So that's the difference between those two countries. And Maltese program is obviously very popular, brings a lot in the country. If Malta does not generate that amount on its passport, they would probably go ahead and cancel it, and they would be okay with those pressures, trade something with the EU, and cancel it. So they're not going to do that. So again, looking into how many applications a country has, how much money they're getting from that program can be a good indicator whether a country will or will not at certain point cancel that option. If you're looking for a second passport or second residence and you're not sure which country would be good for you to get it, or you're not sure how those programs are changing and what is the future of many of those programs, and if it is the right moment to get your residence or citizenship in some of those, a Nomad Capitalist team can help you understand that context better, as well as what are the other consequences in terms of taxes, in terms of lifestyle consequences on your corporate structure when choosing a second residence and a second passport.